The road to Mount Merbabu curved through fields of mist and pine. Alia leaned her head against the bus window, watching clouds roll over the hills like restless waves. She wasn't sure why she had come. Maybe it was the photographs she saw online, the blue sky above the sea of clouds, or maybe it was something quieter, something that called her when nights felt too heavy. At the small village of Selo, she met the others, 3 hikers from Yogyakarta, a guide named Raka, and his old dog, Bima. Raka's eyes were calm, but there was something unreadable about him, as if he carried the mountain in his silence. "Merbabu isn't just a climb," he said when they gathered their packs. "She's a guardian. You don't conquer her. You ask for her permission." Alia smiled, unsure if he was joking, but his voice carried no humor. The villagers spoke the same way, about how the clouds at the peak were spirits, how lantern lights sometimes floated at night, and how a hidden lake appeared only to those who truly sought it. As dusk fell, they started the trek. The forest greeted them with the sound of crickets and the scent of wet earth. The higher they went, the thicker the mist became, until even their flashlights seemed to bend and fade. Raka walked ahead, humming softly, an old Javanese tune that echoed like prayer. Alia followed his voice, the rhythm of her breath mixing with the sound of rustling leaves. Then, for a moment, the mist opened. She saw it, an ancient tree standing tall, its roots spreading like veins across the ground. Carved on its trunk was a faint symbol glowing faintly in the dark, like fireflies forming a circle. "What is that?" she whispered. Raka stopped. The others didn't seem to notice. He looked at her, eyes shadowed by the dim light. "Not everything that lives here wants to be seen," he said softly. "Keep walking, Alia." The mist closed again, swallowing the light, the tree, and the sound of her heartbeat. Somewhere above them, thunder rumbled, slow and deep, like the mountain had spoken. The night air grew colder as they climbed higher. The trail twisted through thick fog, and the sound of insects faded until only the crunch of their boots remained. Every few steps, Alia felt as if someone or something was watching. They stopped near an old campsite where the trees were blackened, as if fire had once touched them. Raka told them it was safe to rest, but his eyes never left the shadows. When the others fell asleep, Alia sat by the fire, camera in hand. She wanted to capture the way the mist danced with the flames. That's when she heard it, a whisper. Faint, like wind threading through bamboo. "Alia." She froze. The voice was soft, familiar. Her mother's voice, though her mother had been gone for years. Alia turned, trembling. Nothing but fog. The trees seemed to breathe, swaying in rhythm with her heartbeat. She stepped closer and saw something flicker between the trunks, an old lantern light, swaying gently. Raka appeared beside her, silent as smoke. "You heard her, didn't you?" he asked. Alia couldn't speak. "The mountain remembers names," he said quietly. "She speaks to those who carry sorrow." He took a small offering from his bag, a flower and a pinch of rice, and placed it on a flat stone. Then he whispered a prayer. The air grew still, and the whispering stopped. When Alia looked again, the lantern light was gone. That night, she dreamed of standing above the clouds, hearing hundreds of voices calling from the mist. When she awoke, Raka was already staring at the horizon. "The spirits have taken notice," he said. "Now, we must be careful." By dawn, the mist turned gold. Sunlight poured through cracks in the clouds, painting the valley below. The group walked in silence, as if afraid to disturb the fragile beauty. Raka led them off the main path, through ferns and moss-covered rocks. "There's a place few people know," he said. "A lake that appears only when the mountain allows it." The air shimmered with warmth as they descended into a hollow surrounded by trees. And there it was, a mirror-like lake, perfectly still, reflecting the sky. Alia felt her chest tighten. It was too silent, too perfect. She knelt and dipped her hand in the water. It was cold, unnaturally cold. When she looked at her reflection, it wasn't her face she saw. It was a girl dressed in white, standing behind her, smiling faintly. Alia gasped and stumbled back. The reflection rippled, then disappeared. Rocco was beside her again, calm but alert. She saw you, he said. The guardian of the lake. She shows herself to those who seek answers. What does she want from me? Alya asked, voice shaking. Maybe nothing, Rocco said. Maybe she just wants you to remember what you've forgotten. Alya stared at the water, seeing her reflection return, just herself now, small beneath the sky. But something had changed. She could feel it. The mountain wasn't just watching her. It was guiding her somewhere. The climb grew steeper, the air thinner. By midday, dark clouds gathered over the peaks. The others hesitated, but Rocco insisted they continue. We're close, he said. Wind howled through the pines, carrying the scent of rain and something metallic, like burnt incense. Lightning flashed across the clouds, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. Suddenly, Baima barked and ran ahead. Alya chased after him, calling his name. When she reached a clearing, she found herself alone. The storm had swallowed everything. A figure stood at the edge of the cliff, a woman in white, her hair flowing like smoke. She turned slowly, her eyes bright as moonlight. You came, the woman whispered. At last. Alya couldn't move. Who are you? The woman smiled. I am the mountain's memory. You carry my echo. Then, as thunder cracked, the woman reached out, touching Alya's chest. A flash of light, sudden, blinding. Images flooded her mind, her mother praying, a small offering under a tree, and a promise whispered to the wind. Return to where it began. Alya fell to her knees. When she opened her eyes, the woman was gone. The storm began to fade. Rocco appeared, drenched, his face pale. You saw her, he said. Alya nodded weakly. The mountain chose you, he murmured. Now you must listen. At dawn, they reached the summit. The world below was hidden beneath a vast ocean of clouds, glowing gold beneath the rising sun. The wind was soft now, almost kind. Alya stood silently, feeling both small and infinite. In her chest, the mountain's voice whispered, not words, but a peace she had never known. She took out her camera, but didn't press the shutter. Some moments, she realized, were not meant to be captured. Rocco stood beside her. What did she tell you? He asked. That everything ends where it begins, Alya said. And that the ones we love never really leave. They just change form, like clouds, like wind. Rocco smiled faintly. Then you've heard the truth. As they began their descent, the mist thickened once more, but it no longer felt heavy. The whispers were still there, soft, gentle, almost like a song. Alya looked back at the summit one last time and whispered her own prayer. The mountain didn't answer with thunder this time. Only the rustle of the trees and a breeze that carried her words away, back into the clouds.